Spurs Bros, breaking news. Gregg Popovich is out as San Antonio Spurs' head coach. What a sad day for the San Antonio Spurs community. Man, I'm at a loss for words. I'm at a loss for words here. We saw it coming. Obviously, it's not a complete shock, but the timing was something that I didn't expect, and it's a real sad, heavy day.
Yeah, man. This is the first time that we're actually getting to podcast like in person with each other. Um, I wish it was under better circumstances. The news came through this morning. I kind of saw the tweet from Shams at first come through, and I like stopped everything, and it's like, wait, what? This is real? Because we were just getting into it. Like, all right, off season's here. We can start talking about, once the second scare kind of went away, like what's Pop going to do? When's it going to happen? Who are the coaches? What's like, and then this is like, my biggest thing is his last game happened already. And it didn't get to happen under his normal, under his like own way. He didn't get to go out on his terms.
Mhm.
Coach Pop has coached his last game for the Spurs. It's crazy. It's sad.
Total selfless move though, as Pop. He wouldn't want to freaking, say this summer I'm going one more year, then get all those goodbye videos throughout there are people saying thank you, Pop, at going around the nation next. He wouldn't want any of that anyways. But yeah, I would assume he would have wanted at least to know in his own mind this will be my last game, my last year, whatever. But total, him move like it's all about the team. Um, yeah, sad day. Truly end of an era. Like
Yeah.
we've been saying the past 4, 5, 6 years, like after Timmy, Manu, all them, it was like end of an era. But this is truly the end of the era now. Like Pop gone. I mean, he'll be in front office, but he ain't traveling with the team. Like once
Yep.
they're out there on the road, it's Mitch and the fellas. Like truly end of an era, whole new team, whole new coaching staff. I would assume Mitch is going to have his choices now to like bring in his guys who he wants. You would assume that's how it's going to go. So yeah, truly end of an era today. Sad day for Spurs ball.
We've been talking about end of an era stuff like over the past few months, all season,
Yeah.
because we had Bill Land go in the offseason.
Yeah,
We just had
dude.
Bill
Bill
Schoening
Schoening.
retire.
Yeah.
And like all these new changes are going on. We were talking about how the new going to come in a few years. Like the Spurs that we grew up with are not the Spurs that we had, but we still had Pop.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
now,
Pop was
dude,
always the one still like we
that's
were like at the end of it all, we still got Pop. He's the ultimate culture guy, gonna be our glue guy, teach our young guys the new way. Now it's like it's literally no one left. Let's hope Mitch been paying attention the last decade.
I mean, I guess the only guy left is Sean Elliott.
Yeah. He'll be
Like,
on the road with the boys. Yeah, he knows. I mean, I
Yeah.
don't know. Maybe in a sense, maybe Mitch could bring in Manu as an assist. We'll get into all that later. But yeah, I don't know. Just something to keep that culture around. But who knows?
Yeah. There's a lot to mention here. I have so many thoughts on this. But first off, top of mind, it's kind of piggybacking off what you said, Stu, the very selfless move. You could tell that obviously he wanted to come back. That's what I love about Pop. He's still ultimately competitive in his old age, 70 whatever
Yeah.
years old. You know
Six.
that he wanted to have basically three generations of
Yeah.
winning, right? The 90s, 10, well, actually four, that would have been
Four generations. Yeah.
four decades of winning. And basically three different generations of like, the David Robinson and then like Timmy D, Kawhi, and then have this new superstar in Wemby and make that happen. So I know he wanted it, but again, the fact that he decided so early, really, quite frankly, I thought he would have waited till at least the end of the summer or something to kind of make a move. But you know what? I'm glad that he didn't. Like you said, selfless decision, and it's tough. It's going to be a change for him as well. I know obviously, like you said, Stu, he's going to be supporting from the sidelines or from the front office, basically. But his role is going to change, right? His role is going to be more of just like what actually that's something to talk about. What will his role be? More of just like instilling more hope and
Yeah.
confidence in the guys. Like he's
President of
not going to.
basketball. Whatever that. I assume. Like training camp. He'd still be around, but I just don't know. Like, okay, say training camp slash preseason. 2 weeks before the season starts, we're practicing at the Rock. Obviously, like GMs, like everyone always sits around and watches practice. That's how it goes in the NBA. But like, does Pop still have like? I guess he can do whatever he wants, but like, does he still step in and like, hey, hold on, Mitch, I can like tell guys what to do in a sense, or like, hey, y'all are fucking up. Like, does he still do that?
Right.
That's what can't happen. Like
Right.
that, and I think that's going to be so tough for him because he's known nothing
Exactly.
other than being the head coach
Yeah.
for 30 years, 29
Exactly.
years. Like if he comes in and inserts himself in a practice in that way, in like any sort of coaching capacity that completely undermines the
Yeah.
authority in the full-time head coaching title that has just been bestowed on Mitch Johnson. So it's going to be hard, but like
Yeah.
can't happen if this team is going to grow.
Well,
Yep.
let's hope maybe, Mitch spends a lot of time with Pop this summer off season, drinking wine and just talking ball. And Pop's got to still have some sort of, brains behind the operation for next season and like
Right.
plays and all that. It'll just be more, Mitch doing all his in play, making his decision. I don't know, dude. This is sad.
It's sad. One thing that I think people like over the past couple of months, I think something ever since the restaurant incident happened a few weeks ago, really is when I've been seeing this, is that people are talking about Pop just needs to move to the front office and like just go take the
Mm-hmm.
ball there. But people forget he's been in the front office this whole time. Like he's been the general, like not the general manager, but he's been like an executive running operations amongst Spurs sports and
Yeah.
entertainment for years. So it's not a role that he's brand new to. Like he has familiarity there. It's just going to be leaning into that and leaving the coaching behind. But he like it's not like a coach is like, okay, how do I run a team from operations? Like, no, he knows what's going on from that
Yeah.
point.
I do wonder if the timing was like now today. So maybe Mitch has more of a say come like, draft night and all that's like, now again, it's Mitch's team. So like, maybe the front office wants Con Knipple, but Mitch is like, no, I want, I don't know. I just don't know why now instead of waiting a little longer. If the plan all along was going to be Mitch anyways, they could have just said like closed doors to him. Hey, like Pop's deciding in August or September before the next season. But like if it's not him, it's gonna be you for sure. Like the fact that it was today would have made us think, oh, for those 30 minutes, I guess, before they announced Mitch, we would have thought like, oh, okay, now we have a chance to go to Mike Malone, Taylor Jenkins, whoever, and then right away, boom, it was Mitch. So like, I
Right.
don't know why today and not waiting a couple more months to figure it out, but yeah,
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. And another thought I had along this lines, is if he's president of basketball operations and he's still in charge of whatever, like just the organization in general, whether it be that part of that, obviously, a big part of that is just the player personnel and maybe who we draft. Obviously, he's always in the war room, right?
yeah,
Draft night and stuff. So it's going to be weird being like, all right, here are your chess pieces, Mitch. Now do with them what hopefully I would do with them, right? Because like
yeah,
obviously for most organizations, it's like, all right, GM, and then like the coach just does whatever the coach is going to do with the pieces that they've been given. But with Pop, obviously he kind of was like both. He's like, and so it'll just be really interesting to see like him just
yeah. Is
after the
our whole
draft.
style of play and like plays gonna change? Like, or
That's what I
like,
want
was
to know.
Mitch already kind of instilling that this last season, or was it all still Pop's game plan? Like every night, how we know Pop would talk to Mitch on the phone, like before games, after games, all that. So does that mean it was still basically all Pop schemes, and or like we just don't know. So like, how much is going to change now this offseason slash going into next year
Yeah.
with Mitch's play calls and schemes? I mean, I don't
Right.
know.
So one thing that I want to say, because I know a lot of people are probably like, Mitch is unproven. We just won 34 games. We were supposed to make playoffs. He sucks. He's trash. And I know that we've said that ourselves a lot throughout the season with
Yep.
the late game rotations and lineups, defense, offense, like miscues, stuff like that. But something I've been thinking about today since the news came out this morning is like when we kind of realized that we weren't a legitimate like top 6 to 8 team in the West and we started not playing Bismack despite him being the only available center on the roster, things like that. Do you think there was some quiet tank things coming from the front office and like, hey, if you're down, just kind of play these guys instead, and let's lean into Stephon Castle getting Rookie of the Year. And is there more to Mitch than what we've seen in this weird transition season in which we pushed for Castle getting Rookie of the Year. We won 34 wins. We shut down our 2 franchise cornerstones. Like, is there more than what we've seen? And is he more competent and like able to make these adjustments that we were all pining for all season? And I have to hope that there is.
I think
I
so.
was gonna say, yeah, I think we can all speak for everyone. Like, we definitely think / hope there's more to it, and not like piggybacking on that. All that is like, yes, Reagan, completely agree. But I want to see more like competitiveness and like wanting to win. Like we said this, he never got fired up, never got in kind of the guys' faces. Again, maybe he just didn't feel like he had the authority. But even then with like the refs, we always kind of would complain, like, Mitch, go get a T. You never stood up for Wemby getting pushed around out there. Stephon getting fouled 20 times a night before he gets a call. Like, hopefully he just has that more will to win, and like he's just not so like we love him being calm and like, composed on the sideline in his interviews. It's kind of like he's pop junior in a way, in his interviews, how he talks, and just super mundane with his voice, all that. But like, I just want to see more fire from him really going next year.
We don't want a Darvin Ham with just his hands in his pockets, standing there the whole
Yeah,
time, letting things happen.
Yeah, dude, I want little like Nick Nurse. I like kind of go crazy. Just like, I don't know. It's just
really
I think that's what young guys need too.
Yeah.
Like Pop didn't have to do so much of that for the last 15 years because he had like we would do everything right on the court in a way, and then he had veterans. These young guys seem like Mitch needs to get after them truly, and like, I don't know. Well, so hopefully, Reagan, to your point, that freaking yes, he has like way more to him. He's a Stanford guy. He's a genius. He went to Stanford, played ball his whole life.
Yeah, he played with Brook Lopez, and like Brook has talked about him in an interview when we played the Bucks this year, that like he was a genius on the court. He was on the court as a point guard, and like everybody looked to him. They would ask him questions just as much as the coaching staff. He was this up and coming rising assistant, like lead assistant coach in the years leading up to this season. Like, there's something there. I'm talking myself into the fact that there's got to be more than what we've seen, and hopefully him becoming the full-time permanent head coach is the change that he needs to feel like the authority and empowered to go after refs, to get after the guys, to implement his own philosophies, whether they're completely opposite or somewhat similar to Pop's. We'll find out, but I want to find out. Yeah. I want to see Mitch's fingerprints over everything.
Yeah, I think so. It's really interesting. You saying that, Stu, is making me think of, Pop. Yeah, he was kind of quiet and he's kind of like mundane on the sidelines, but he can definitely get out. Yeah. Like I mean, he was the one. I mean, we love seeing him getting thrown out of games. We love.
Yeah, who doesn't love that?
He's not opposed to yelling or whatever. He's got this obviously angry side of him and obviously extremely competitive side of him, right? I want some nasty.
That's what we want.
So that, and it's really interesting to think about other winning coaches. The reason that he succeeded in being that guy, and you had his superstar player being Timmy D, who was just like very, very composed the whole time. He was never. But then think about the opposite is also true with the other coaches, say like Steve Kerr and Phil Jackson. Their stars are like more, flashy and like in your face and stuff. And Phil Jackson is more like the Zen guy,
the Zen master,
right? Yeah. And Michael Jordan, Kobe, right? All these guys that they coach, they were like exactly these big personalities, and so it kind of balanced out. But Wemby's kind of very much Zen-like,
and so is Fox. Honestly, neither of them are flashy.
Exactly. So we need maybe more. Yeah, like you said, like y'all said, like we need somebody who's more of just. Even if it's not on the court, definitely in the locker room and in practice, like just being more vocal and being like.
Remember when Pop came and met with the guys ahead of that Grizzlies game, and everybody like he walked in and he just like chewed us out,
roasted him,
just a profanity laden like got into us, and then we won the next 3 games and we kicked the Grizzlies' ass that night. Like the guys clearly respond to that when it's coming from the right place and it's not just like anger at them. It's like, no. I'm getting after you because I believe in you and there's more to this. Show me. Mm-hmm. That's what we need.
Exactly. And we even talked about like on the pod that next week where we were like, obviously, like even Keldon came out and said, oh yeah, Pop got after us. He was a lot of F-bombs thrown around, this, that, the other. But when he walked in, like we all stared and it was like an aura. Like that's great. And yeah, of course that was great. But now he's not our coach anymore. Like we need Mitch to have some sense of aura like that to where the guys are like, oh shit, Mitch is going to like sit me tonight. Or like they need to be scared of him in some sense. He can't just be the 39-year-old player coach, like So, bro,
Yeah,
like, dabbing me up when he come into practice, all that. Like, there's got to
exactly.
be some sense of like frightenedness towards him. Like, you can't just be buddy buddy with your head coach. That's just not going to end up going well.
I think that's going to change though, because the expectations are different this season compared to last season, where it was still kind of maybe we make a play in, maybe we don't kind of situation. And then as time went on, it was clear what the expectation was going to
Yeah.
be. But I think next year, healthy Fox, healthy Wemby, Castle's back, whatever other moves we might make,
Yeah.
the expectations are going to be raised. And I think from a front office perspective, from a coaching perspective, the attitude you take with a team that is expected to win 45 plus games and make a playoff run and go win a playoff series, you're going to handle those players differently in different situations than you would with a team that's like still trying to figure some stuff out and like figure out who's going to make the long-term run with Wemby and who's not. So again, this is me talking myself into like, hey, we just haven't seen what Mitch Johnson's actually capable of.
Right. But you know what? That all being said, somebody said on Twitter, and obviously everyone can come to the same conclusion, which is they wouldn't have said yes without Wemby saying yes. So obviously Wemby
Facts.
believes. Coach Pop obviously gave the blessing. I'm sure he was coming through the ranks for a really long time and had an increasing role for a really long time under Pop. Shams even said on ESPN earlier today, talking up Mitch as well, basically saying that, hey, like he's got a lot of talent here, and yeah, he may be young, but like the guys blessed it, and so did the players, and so did the coach,
Yeah.
Pop. So I mean, I believe, and so go ahead, Reagan. You have something to say?
Yeah, I was just reading right before we got on to record this, that yes, Wemby was like involved and notified and said yes, and Pop was also kind of heavily involved in the decision to make Mitch the coach. So, and so somebody on Spurs Twitter was like, "Hey, if Wemby and Pop are cool with it, then I'm cool with it." And I think that's kind of the attitude that we just have to accept, because if we don't, we're just going to be stuck in the past and stuck like being curmudgeons and holding a grudge that, oh, we didn't get Mike Malone, oh, we didn't get Taylor Jenkins. Like
Exactly.
they did this with purpose.
Yeah.
They made the Pop announcement. 30 minutes later, they made the Mitch Johnson announcement. And that happened for a reason with intentionality. And we have to trust in our Spurs organization that we've loved and put trust in for our entire lives.
Yep. Yes, sir. The official statement from Pop.
I haven't read this yet.
Yeah, this is got
I
posted
saw it.
next by I think the Spurs organization. He said, "Quote: While my love and passion for the game remain, I've decided it's time to step away as head coach. I'm forever grateful to the wonderful players, coaches, staff, and fans who allowed me to serve them as the Spurs head coach, and am excited for the opportunity to continue to support the organization, community, and city that are so meaningful to me." That was him. And it's just wonderful, man. He's going to go down as the GOAT, obviously, until someone passes him up, which I don't see happening anytime soon. Maybe Coach Bo, if he remains as a head coach for that long. But I mean, he was the most winningest head basketball coach in NBA history. He had four.
Let's hope it's Mitch.
Yeah, well, I hope, man. I hope, right? If he could go from 38 to 72, that'd be wild. If he could go for 30. If the NBA's, yeah, whatever. Popovich amassed 1,422 regular season wins. And it's crazy, man. 37-year career in NBA as a head coach and executive. That's crazy.
Yeah, because he joined the Spurs in what did it say right there? It said in 1988 under the tutelage of Larry Brown. When Larry Brown was the head coach, Pop became an assistant. And I still think to this day, there might not ever be a more I'm him moment than Pop firing the head coach and saying, after a 3-15 start, he fired him and said, "That's my job. Let me do this." And here we are 30 years later with 5 championships, and he's got the most wins regular season ever, combined wins ever, and third most in the postseason ever. Like, he's the GOAT. And he was like, no, like this, like, move over.
Yeah.
This is how this coaching thing is done. I don't think there's ever going to be a moment like that ever again.
That takes cojones, big cojones to be able to do that, have confidence in yourself. Yeah, man. Just a legend. We're going to talk more about him in the following podcast, our next formal episode, but we just wanted to get on here and do an emergency pod because this is bigger news than any other emergency pod that we've done in the past this season. So, man, that's all I've got. Do you have anything else, guys, or
I mean,
anything
just
else to
like
say? Final
what I
thoughts?
was saying this morning on jumped on Evan Townsend's space on Twitter, and kind of what I was saying this morning, like that was when it was still, within the hour fresh, is like I just want to like Pop is San Antonio and San Antonio is Pop. Pop is the Spurs and the Spurs are Pop. And we are all diehard fans because of the culture that he has established. I know that the Spurs were around a long time before Gregg Popovich ever stepped foot in the building or in San Antonio in general. But the Spurs that we know today has his imprints and footprints and culture stamped all over it. The work in the community is second to none. The morals and values and kind of perspective that he instilled on our players from the moment they walked into the building to the moment that they left, whether they were a starter, a Hall of Famer, or a 10-day guy, he treated everybody the same from every story you've ever heard. And I don't think we're going to see somebody else like him with that kind of staying power and respect from literally everyone, whether they liked him or not as a coach, like immediately then. You hear guys like Richard Jefferson didn't have the best tenure ever. He was on ESPN an hour ago saying, Pop extended my career. Steven Jackson always has something to say about the Spurs, but at the end of the day, he respects Pop as a coach. So even guys that didn't get along with him in the moment always come back and say, he changed me. He extended my career. He was the role model, father figure. And I've felt that, and I never even met the man. I just watching him around and listening to him growing up in press conferences and interviews. Like he's always the fun dad, father figure coach that like everybody wanted to be a part of and be with. And I'm going to miss the hell out of that dude on the sidelines. So anytime I can see him on whatever content gets put out at the Rock, I'm going to eat that up. But yeah, just want to like drive home the fact that like, yes, there's a lot of change, but I don't want it to be lost that Pop's that dude, and he's meant so much to the city and the Spurs, and he always will.
Yes, he will. That's exactly right. He's built a legacy that's going to last for generations, not just obviously the end of his lifetime. That's gonna etch out into the future, and he'll just be down in the history books, man. He'll go down as the GOAT for sure.
Greatest Etonian ever.
Ooh, well, let's see.
I mean, we got Davy Crockett up there.
Davy Crockett is
San Antonio people.
You can get Mount Rushmore.
Davy Crockett, Pop.
He's on the Mount Rushmore. Probably the Admiral.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Probably those four. Spurs and Davy Crockett.
Yeah, that's funny. All right, boys. Well, thank you all for listening. Thank you all for tuning in. Man, let us know what you think about this. Like I said, we're going to talk more about this in the next episode or two.
It'll be forever now, I'm sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll always have a mention on it. So
for sure. So
we'll put a lot together for next week and have favorite moments and stories and stuff to share. So let us know if there's anything that y'all want us to talk about next week. But yeah, everybody go pour one out for Gregg Popovich and just thanks that he's still in the front office.
Yep.
But on that note, man, from the Spurs Bros, go Spurs, go.